I was never the type to believe in gut feelings, but looking back, I wish I had. It started with a simple swipe on a dating app. His name was Kyle. He seemed normal, attractive, well-spoken, and charming in a way that didn't feel forced. Our conversations were effortless, and within a few days he asked me out for drinks. The first date was pleasant enough. We met at a casual bar downtown, talked for a couple of hours, and parted ways with a hug. No red flags, no strange behavior. If anything, I found him a little quiet, but that didn't seem like a bad thing. The second date, however, was where things began to feel off. We met at a small restaurant this time, and as soon as I sat down, he told me he had already ordered for me. I laughed it off, thinking it was a playful gesture, but something about the way he watched me, his eyes locked onto mine like he was waiting for approval, made me uneasy. Throughout dinner, he pried into my life in a way that felt too intense for a second date. He wanted to know about my family, my friends, where I worked, what my daily routine looked like. Again, I brushed it off as curiosity, but something inside me told me he was memorizing every detail. After dinner, he offered to drive me home. I declined, saying I preferred to take my own car. He insisted a little too much, but eventually he let it go. That night, as I lay in bed, I received a text from him. "Good night, beautiful. Hope you sleep well." I never told him where I lived. A chill ran down my spine as I reread the text. Maybe I had mentioned my neighborhood in passing, or maybe he had seen my car and figured it out. But the uneasy feeling stayed with me. I decided not to see him again. The next morning, I texted him, letting him know that I didn't think we were a good match. He didn't respond. Not that day, not the next. I thought maybe he took the hint and moved on. I was wrong. The following week, strange things started happening. My phone rang at odd hours, always from a blocked number. Every time I answered, there was silence on the other end. At first, I thought it was just spam calls, but then I started seeing the same black sedan parked near my apartment. One night, I came home late from work, exhausted and ready to collapse into bed. As I approached my front door, I noticed something on the doormat. A single red rose. My stomach twisted. My hands shook as I unlocked the door and quickly stepped inside, locking it behind me. I barely slept that night. The next day, I was on edge, constantly looking over my shoulder. At work, I mentioned it to my coworker, who suggested I go to the police. But what could I say? A guy I went on 2 dates with might be stalking me. There was no proof, just an overwhelming feeling that I was being watched. That night, I made sure all my windows were locked, double-checked the door, and crawled into bed with my heart pounding. Then, at 2 a.m., a soft knock echoed through my apartment. I froze. It wasn't the front door. It was coming from my bedroom window. Slowly, I turned my head toward it. The curtains were closed, but I could see the faint outline of a figure standing outside. My blood turned ice cold. I reached for my phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. The operator answered, and I whispered, "There's someone outside my window." I heard the sound of footsteps moving away. The police arrived within minutes, but by the time they searched the area, whoever it was had already vanished. The officers took my statement and suggested I stay with a friend for a few nights. I didn't need to be told twice. I packed a bag and drove straight to my best friend's house. The next morning, I received a single text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have left. I was just trying to say goodnight." I blocked the number, filed a police report, and moved out of my apartment within the month. I never saw Kyle again. But sometimes, when I'm alone at night, I swear I still feel the weight of unseen eyes watching me. And I wonder, did he ever really stop?